Millie, when did you have your last dinner party and how many people came?
To be honest, I feel like I throw dinner parties for my dogs every night because they're so fussy and demanding, and I'm constantly cooking different things for them. But I've had quite a few kind of summer kind of garden parties. Not that the weather's been great for it, but I like to have lots of different people in the garden and just put out a big food table and do it like that.
Sounds yummy. How about you, Rach?
Well, I didn't host this, but last weekend I attended a McDonald's and wine pairing dinner party, which was really fun. A cozy, intimate affair, a bit of a high-low pairing thing. Very unpretentious. We went in as strangers, but then everyone came out kind of as friends.
Welcome to the Create Tomorrow podcast. I'm your host, Jen Creevy, and I'm the Director of Food and Drink here at WGSN. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the new dinner party. And what do we mean by that? Well, this is something that we forecast a while back, and now we're really starting to see it take off in a big way. How, why, and when we host dinner parties is changing. In fact, the only thing that's remaining is where. Joining me to discuss this topic is Rachel Tan, based in Singapore. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
And Millie Diamond, based in London. Hi, Millie.
Hey, Jen.
So, to start off, let's talk about dinner party occasions. So, the trend that we've been talking about for a while is for smaller, more casual dinner parties, even midweek. So, Rachel, can you tell us where this is coming from and what it actually looks like?
Well, this is a really fun topic for me because I've recently gone down the TikTok rabbit hole of dinner parties. The aesthetic that you get off TikTok is just this very thrown together, effortless. You're talking about mismatched tableware, candles, lots and lots of candles, grocery store flower arrangements, and things, just very simple things like inviting two people over for a pasta night, but then maybe elevate it with champagne pairing. Things like one tray bakes or tin fish platters and homemade sides built around grocery rotisserie chicken. This kind of casualization of dinner parties, I think, is really from a confluence of factors. So one is the rising cost of living. With that, many people are cutting back from dining out, and flexible remote work is actually becoming more common. So allowing for that kind of weeknight dinner party situation. Homes are getting smaller, or you might not even have your own home at all. You know, for many of us millennials and Gen Z, many of life's traditional milestones are feeling a little just more out of reach. Things like buying a house or getting married or having babies. So many are rejecting such milestones, those external markers of success, and embracing the minor stones in life with, as you guessed it, little dinner parties. So dinner parties for things like celebrating a resignation or paying down a debt, a pet's birthday, or even celebrating the launch of new season of Bridgerton on Netflix, for example. All these dinner parties are becoming a micro symbol of adult achievement for our generation.
Nice. So it's really about sort of move away from the traditional dinner party then that might take weeks to prepare for, and just having a more casual one for a smaller occasion.
Yeah, that's right. And just being able to embrace the smaller moments in life and make them worth celebrating.
Nice. And we've also seen that supper clubs are rising, which very much speaks to this trend too. Where is this coming from, Millie?
Yeah, so consumers are seeking out glimmers, which is something that we've been talking about a lot at WGSN this year. And these are kind of little moments of joy that deliver wonder and unexpected but pleasurable chaos. And this is to counteract the stress, anxiety, social pressures, and other negative emotions that seem to be flying around. And supper clubs offer a more intimate dining experience compared to a traditional restaurant setting. So they can help to foster deeper personal interactions and allow people to connect on a more meaningful level and build a real sense of community and belonging. Also, supper clubs often feature unique and curated menus that further help the dining experience to feel special and memorable. You know, in a world increasingly dominated by digital interactions, supper clubs can really provide a refreshing break by encouraging face-to-face conversations and real-world socialization, which many people are really craving as a counterbalance to their online lives. Supper clubs can also evoke a sense of nostalgia, harking back to a time when dining out was a more communal and celebratory event. And this appeal to tradition really resonates with many people looking just for that momentary switch off from the fast-paced modern lifestyle.
Nice. And what does this actually mean in terms of product? What are people actually putting on the table? Rach, maybe you want to pick that one up.
Yeah, so I think the same kind of sentiment that Millie was getting at is this need for connection, and that is what people are bringing to the table at dinner parties. So in terms of product development, the question is then how can we create products that support consumers in hosting such meaningful gatherings? So, the more time you spend in the kitchen is less time you spend with your guests. So the first part is, of course, products that create convenience for the host. So as I was talking about the casualization of dinner parties earlier, it also means that now there is no shame in outsourcing part of your dinner prep, outsourcing your meal, buying things from the grocery store or part of your meal from a restaurant is perfectly acceptable now. Things like packaged snacks and store-bought cakes, roasts or tray bakes, these all can be personalized, customized, and elevated at home. So take things like the air fryer pizza Pringles that I saw on TikTok recently. This is a trend where people are taking a packaged snack and just elevating that for a special occasion, a more indulgent snack appetizer at home. The second thing is creating shareable foods and experiential options that generate togetherness. So meal kits that actually invite people to participate in the prep work really well. Things like pasta kits that people can make from scratch together before you cook them and eat them together, or a direct from table cheese platter tasting, or imagine an oversized Korean bibimbap is where you put all the ingredients and rice together and everyone joins in to toss and mix it up together. So that kind of convivial atmosphere is something that experiential food products can bring to the table.
You're listening to the WGSN podcast Create Tomorrow. We're talking about the new dinner party. I'm your host, Jen Creevy, Director of Food and Drink at WGSN. I'm joined by WGSN Food and Drink strategist Millie Diamond and Senior Strategist Rachel Tan. And we've called out rising cuisines at WGSN with the likes of next-gen Latin American, regional Southeast Asian, and unapologetically inauthentic. So for dinner parties, what we're seeing is the global element is really important, isn't it? So I recently saw, for example, someone hosted a midweek dinner party where each of the guests brought a dish from a different region of Mexico. I mean, looked absolutely delicious and very much speaks to our forecasted next-gen LATAM cuisine trend. Rach, Millie, have you seen any recent examples of these rising cuisines that are perfect for dinner parties? Rach, maybe I'll come to you first.
Yeah, I love dinner parties where there's this element of prep and involvement from the guests, like you said. And I think Asian and Southeast Asian cuisines really lend themselves to that. Southeast Asian cuisines, regional ones, are something that we forecasted as well on WGSN that is rising to the fore. So for example, I came across a dinner party on TikTok recently where every guest was given their own cup of instant ramen. And then at the center of the table was a large communal pot of Korean army stew that was on an induction stove bubbling away. And you could basically scoop out the soup and whatever ingredients you like, put it in your own cup of ramen, and then everyone has their own little customized entree. I also saw this pop up in Jakarta called Mari Mari, where they held a mee soto party. So mee soto is Indonesian noodle soup dish, but it has a lot of different ingredients on top, like an egg or garnishings and different types of chilies and condiments. What they've done is just put it all out for guests to build their own bowl, basically. And I can easily see this extending to a lot of different Southeast Asian cuisine concepts, maybe like Vietnamese banh mi sandwich party or Thai tom yum hot pot.
I really love that idea. Probably my favorite dinner parties are the ones where you can help yourself to different bits and different elements. So yeah, that sounds delicious. Millie, how about you?
Yeah, I've also seen some really fun ones on TikTok, such as my new favourite, which is the Weenies and Teenies party. So that is martinis and hot dogs. I think it'd be really fun to do this so that guests could customise their own martinis and their own hot dogs, and maybe do pairing ingredients so that you could have one martini with one hot dog and then the next martini with a different hot dog. The unapologetically inauthentic trend that we called out also really plays into this. And we've obviously seen smash burgers and then smash tacos all over social media. But one I spotted the other day was tatty scone tacos, which really takes it to a whole new level and would be so fun and unexpected for a dinner party. So the base is a traditional Scottish tatty scone, and then that's spread with a chili spiked scallop mix, which is then fried and then topped with crispy black pudding and slaw. It just sounds delicious to me. And then Venezuelan arepas play into the handheld, low-key dinner party vibe too, and offer something different again to the well-known taco. This plays again into our next-gen LATAM trend. And guests could then be offered a variety of different fillings, such as reina pepada, which is shredded chicken mixed with avocado, mayo and lime juice, or queso de mano, which is a simple filling of a traditional stretchy, soft Venezuelan cheese.
Delicious. This is all making me really hungry. So the dinner party is, of course, just as much about the drinks as it is the food. We've forecasted the rise of what we call the elevated home bar. Millie, tell us a bit more about this, where it came from.
Yeah, so as more celebrations move into the home, consumers are seeking to upgrade their drinks creations. They want luxury lifestyles, but on a budget, and they're looking to host a convenient night in, but do it with flair. So for this, they're going to look for spirit-based RTDs and higher premium ABV spirits that have natural flavours and ingredients. And the best bit about this for me is all the little snackies that can go alongside with it.
Nice. So it's about treating yourself at home, really, because perhaps you're cutting out on going out a little bit. And what about some of the product ideas that fit into the elevated home bar?
Yeah, we're seeing lots of ideas of minimalist mixology, with consumers using pantry items to create cocktails like marmalade or chili oil or whatever else they might have lurking in their cupboards. Lotza is playing into this idea with its premium carbonated mixes in lemon hibiscus and wild berry mint flavours, perfect for making an upgraded margarita or a twist on a mojito. And in the US recently, I bought some I Love Michelada's single-serve chamoy mini packs. I think you might have got some too, Jen.
I did, definitely.
That are perfect for rimming cocktails, or you can add them to cans and they absolutely spice up your drinking experience, whatever it is that you may be drinking. Snackware in particular is hot right now too, for those matching snacks to accompany the drinks and create more of an experience around cocktail hour, really. We've seen bamboo wine glass toppers that can hold a selection of cheese and charcuterie, or really whatever you want to put on there, and they just sit on top of the wine glass. And little snacks can get really creative too, such as elevated jalapeno poppers we spotted recently, which were Venezuelan-inspired jalapeno tequeños with taleggio and nori. I know it's early, but I could really go for one of those right now.
I'll definitely join you there. So this new evolution of the dinner party, what does this mean also for the gifts that you might bring your host? Now, traditional gifts, of course, a bottle of wine, I would say, but I know myself, I'm delighted if someone brings me something different to that. So like a good bottle of olive oil or a condiment that I haven't actually tried yet. So Rach, how are we seeing that the host gifts evolving?
Well, there's so much more that you can bring to a party now beyond a nice bottle of wine or flowers. Because did you hear? Pantries are the home's new status symbol beyond the wardrobe. So thinking about practical food and drink gifts that can become gift worthy for your host or as a contribution to potluck parties. Things like you mentioned, specialty finishing oils and condiments, pantry staples that are turned into gift sets like fancy pasta or tinned fish, elevated items for the home bar, or limited edition packaged food and drink. Maybe some of those, if you know, hype collaborations between singers or fashion streetwear brands and food brands. Those would make superb gifts to bring to a dinner party, considering everyone there would most probably be foodies as well.
Definitely. They'd definitely be into those gifts. They sound great. So I asked you at the start both about your last dinner party. I know for me, you both know how much I love Middle Eastern and Mediterranean cuisine. So the last one I hosted was all about sharing dishes. And I took some recipes from a restaurant in LA that I really like called Kismet, which they now have a cookbook out. I made lots of dips, fresh veggies, and even made my own labneh, which I was very pleased about. So Rachel, you didn't host your last one, but what was the last one that you actually cooked for, and what did you cook?
I cooked for was a Hawaiian poke bowl night. So we just made like marinated raw salmon and tuna and octopus, and then we had rice and nori and all the little vegetable sides and sauces. So we made 2 different types of sauces based off Hawaiian poke traditional sauces, like the sesame and chili ones and the wasabi mayo. And these just really allowed guests to help themselves and prepare their own bowls as they liked. So it was quite fun, and it was also very kid friendly, and all the kids really enjoyed building their own bowls as well.
That sounds very impressive, Rachel, I must say. And Millie, how about you? I know you mentioned hosting lots of outdoor parties. What was the last thing that you actually made?
So I've recently jumped on the aperitivo bandwagon, which we forecast for 2026. So I love an ice cold vermouth or lillet, and recently got hold of a bottle of Doladera, which is a deliciously herbaceous rhubarb aperitif. And that kind of aperitivo style of eating really works for me because I enjoy a more casual and also earlier eating time because I love my sleep. And it also means that I can make lots of different things that wouldn't necessarily go together. I love making Asian food, but I also love the Mediterranean bits and bobs. And I can just throw everything together and it doesn't really matter. It's stress-free. It can all be prepped in advance and I can actually enjoy my guests' company.
Sounds good. Also delicious. Fantastic. Well, I think that's all we have time for, so I'll wrap up there. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to Millie Diamond, our strategist based in London, and Rachel Tan, our senior strategist based in Singapore. And I hope you all host some delicious dinner parties soon. If you're a WGSN subscriber, look out for more food and drink trends available at WGSN.com. And if you're not a subscriber, please come and discover our services. We're constantly publishing new content focusing on how we can design a brighter, better future for our industries, including food and drink, but also interiors, fashion, beauty, and consumer tech. We'll be back in 2 weeks for our next episode. In the meantime, you can catch the CEO of WGSN, Carla Buzzacci, next week on our other podcast, Lives of Tomorrow, where she'll be joined by Full Fathom director Scott King, discussing the power of multisensory design and marketing. Thank you for listening and see you next time.